All right, who's for lunch today? We are joined by a South African actress, producer, author, entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience. Over 20 years. Hello, dance mom. How are you, dance mom? They must add that. They must add that. We as dance parents, because that's a full-time job.
We lose our weekends.
Being a dance mom, I mean, or a dance dad, this is a full-time job.
Completely.
Beyond the weekends, the drop-off, the pickups,
the practices,
and
then raising money for the costumes. Dimelang.
And the overseas trips that government doesn't want to fund. No. But anyway, SALAMINA MOSESE, good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. It's always good to visit the Power FM family.
Yes, and good to see you outside the dancing circus, because I think the last time I saw you, it was some dance competition where our kids were participating. And how's things? How have you been?
I've been keeping busy.
Yeah.
I think the Joburg way.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, life is, I think, as a creative, every project feels like birthing something new, and I'm in that space. And it's not always an easy space, but I think I like it when you start to see it all come together. And I think that's the phase where I am now.
Okay. That's beautiful. So it's been over 20 years that you've been doing this.
It's actually 27 years this year. It's crazy. On Friday.
How old were you when you started? Because I
was 13.
Oh, I started at 14. Yes. So clearly we were victims of child exploitation.
Exactly. Child labor.
How much were you earning? I know my first salary was 800 rand. I'm not even going to.
We're not only rich ones.
You reckon?
Yeah, my first one was 360 rand a call.
Well, you were doing it a call. I was getting 800 a month. So
okay.
I was getting 800 a month.
Okay. Yes.
Which was a lot of money.
We were shooting 14-hour days, and it was 360 rand. As kids, you save money. So I think it was fair for that time. It might sound exploitative now.
And as a youngster, you it's fun at the end of the day, because we don't think of it as work, or were you already that mode where you knew
I think the long hours, the balancing of school, it always felt like a job. And I think I was waiting for the fun bit. And maybe the fun bit was the friendships that we, that blossomed as a result of us spending so much time on set. I'm still friends with Tulufelo Wechumang. We met on Soul Buddies. She was one of my bridesmaids at my wedding, so we met as kids. I'm slightly older than her, but I think that's the fun aspect, is when you can connect with people on set in a real way. Stefina is my business partner. We met as kids TV presenters in our teen years. So yeah, I think that was the fun part, but everything else wasn't so fun.
And you have me thinking, and my next question is so where's the fun?
Exactly.
Or is this where the reality of what we do? Because sometimes when you tell people there's no much fun in this thing that we do, they don't buy it.
Look, I think the fun comes in no 2 days are the same. So that variety, that adventure at work. Some of the stuff that I got to do even as a TV presenter, jet setting around the world, that stuff is fun. It's not perfect. When you peel away the curtain, we understand, from being in the industry.
From inside,
It's not as glamorous as it looks. But of course, when you step away, sometimes you're like, yeah, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot that we can take out of this. I always say that for me, and I've been doing this for 6 years, and I always say that one thing I'm grateful for this job in being in the media industry is that I got to see the world.
Exactly.
For me, that is one thing that maybe if I had gone on to become a lawyer full time, I probably would not have seen the world. I've been to World Cups, the cricket, the rugby. I've been to Brazil. I've been to countries that I never even thought You know, as a kid growing up, I would even set foot there.
Exactly.
So that's the fun element of it. But and you know, me, I never do. We'll just have a conversation.
Of course.
We'll go all over the place. So don't mind me, please. Don't mind. What was that like as a kid? I mean, as a 13-year-old, you're at school, you're working, you are famous, you're on TV. Like, what was that like?
I mean, there's a reason, right, why after a couple of years, a lot of the people that started young, they sort of go off the rails, so to speak. It's hard, man. There's a lot of, you know, I've had to do therapy for some of the things, that you experience. I think there's a lot of responsibility that was placed on our shoulders as kids on an edutainment series. We didn't feel like celebrities. I think the role model hat was forced on us. And what that does sometimes, not always, but sometimes it just feels heavy. And it feels like you are not actually allowed to be a child. I developed an unhealthy obsession with not making mistakes, with always staying in the right path or perfection, you know, and that happens
because people are watching.
Yeah.
Salamina, you can't do that.
And sometimes, you know, I would be in the shopping mall and Bumama would stop me and they'd be like,
you know what my mother used to do, God rest her beautiful soul. I for some reason, and this I should not even be sharing this, I hate wearing shoes.
Okay.
With all my, like, the first thing when I get home, wherever I take off is shoes. Like, if I could, I would live barefoot, right? So I never really liked wearing. So if I would go from home to the shops, it's not a long distance, right? So I would always walk to the shops barefoot, and my mother was like, Kwena, and I didn't quite understand that, because for me, I was comfortable to walk barefoot to the shops, kereke boroto, and come back, you know. I still do it even in the burbs.
In the burbs.
They look at me weird, but it's okay, you know. And it's those small things that you realize that sometimes for you it might be just a project, it must just be work, but you inspire, and a lot of people are watching what you're doing.
I remember, I think it really scared me. Back in the day, remember our matric results were printed in newspapers and they would put your name there. And it was crazy the amount of calls my mom got of people she went to varsity with. I said to her, imagine if I had done badly. This would have gone really, really the other direction.
TV.
You know, so I think it's just the pressure of it. Has been the undoing of a lot of my peers, some of them whom I started with. And it's a difficult industry to just feel like you are being watched constantly. But of course, I think as with everything, it also taught me a responsibility that I had to assume early on in life. And I just never let go of that person. It just reminded me that, you know, it takes a village. And ha ke ngwana wa ba ga mphelo fela, ba ga legodi fela. It's like people take ownership of my journey, and if I inspire that kind of, you know, whatever it is, then I guess, you know, there's grace.
Do you still enjoy doing it 27 years later?
I think the on-screen stuff, not as much.
But you were on screen not so long ago with Habi doing that with Seppo.
Yeah, and you see, so this is my point. I didn't realize that I was enjoying being behind the scenes until you do a big show again, and then it reminds you again, it's not easy. I think sometimes, you know, people just see the nice side of it. But of course, I think in the advent of social media, there's also a lot of negativity that comes with being so in the spotlight, so to speak. But we enjoyed working together. I think that was an adventure for us. And And it was a big project.
It was a huge project.
It was controversial.
Yes.
And it was emotive.
We love controversy. we thrive on controversy, Salamina.
A lot of
That's
people
what we love. If you guys had given us a show that is, look at what people are still fighting today about King, the one that finished now, Married at First Sight. People are still up in arms right now about what happened on that show.
Look, I don't think we emotionally prepared ourselves for how hectic people are about reality TV.
Yes.
It's intense. But it was a learning curve. And I think it shocked us both. We had gotten used to, sometimes when you're in the industry for a long time, people get used to you. So you stop feeling at some point like you are a celebrity. We're just mom and dad. Like, we do dance competitions.
Yes.
And we sit with the other parents.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think being thrust into the limelight like that, especially for me, because I had been...
Because for a while you were off screen, you were behind
the scenes,
yes.
And I've been enjoying putting other people on and creating things that will outlive me. Things that also don't require me to be in front of the camera. I've also been enjoying that.
Talk to me about that change, Salamina, when you decided to go behind the scenes. What was that like, and what did it take for you to say, okay, I want to start doing something different and be on the other side of the camera?
I'll be honest. I think the panic came with parenting. And when we start having conversations about now what, the legacy of what we have done, I think you will know that there's so much about our industry that is unregulated. There are no protections for people on screen, especially actors. There's no sense of safe longevity that we can build, sustainability. So I think it was in having those conversations with my best friend, Stefina, where we were both panicking. We had been kid stars, and then you get to that point where you're in that awkward middle where you are too old to play a child, but you are not old enough to be the mom of another child. And that happened when we were in varsity. And as a result, it influenced what we studied. She did journalism, I did corporate communications, and we started having these conversations of, after the industry, where to? And fast forward almost 10 years after varsity, we revisited that conversation again, because now we were ready to start a family. And I was like, what do I have to show for all these years in the industry? It's an uncomfortable conversation. Because, guys, honestly, fame doesn't pay the bills. Eh? I can't call school fees. Ke famous.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
So that informed the going behind the scenes. It was just to say, let's build something that, lo and behold, if anything happens to me, there's something tangible that I have left for my child that owns assets that are things that can be monetized. And that's really where we started. And we wanted to be independent as well, so that we can own our products.
And which is very important indeed. We are in conversation with Salamina MOSESE, South African actress, producer, author, entrepreneur, and as I said, dance mom and wife. I want to touch, and you touched on it briefly. What was it like working with Tsepo, your husband? Was that your first project together?
It was our first. Okay, so we met on screen.
Okay,
many years ago on Backstage,
okay,
and so we've worked together before. Obviously, then we were not married. So we met in the industry, and couple of years later, I think 2023, we released as a company a Netflix film called Homewrecker, and he was one of our leads. So that was me as his boss.
He was working for you.
Exactly.
You were paying you were paying his. You were paying him.
I was paying him.
Yeah, he was cutting a check from you.
We like to say we bullied him to agree to work for us. So that was fun. And it's interesting, the conversations we had after that, because he was interacting with Salamina as a company owner for the first time. and seeing how I play in that space. And then fast forward to The Ultimatum, now we're both on-screen talent. And that wasn't our production, it wasn't my production, so we were both hired. Also, a very different experience. You don't have as much control. You're being told what to do, what to wear, etc. So it's almost like it was us all the way back to how it was when we met. Except now, I think we had to bring so much of our personal selves and what we had learned walking our journey together as a married couple to the TV screens, in how we were dealing with the participants on and off screen, by the way, because there's a lot of, there's what happens on screen when the cameras are rolling, but sometimes it also took us being big brother and sister to the participants to keep them on the show, to just give them a comforting word, to keep the cameras rolling. Show must go on.
Because there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that we don't get to see. And I've been behind the scenes on one or two of these reality shows. And my first time walking into one, I actually thought some of these things were scripted and made up. And then when you start to see the raw feelings, the raw emotions, how people, whether they're acting for the cameras or not, but I mean, how they are acting, and you're like, wow, okay, the reality in this thing is really reality TV.
Yeah. And I think as people, Tsepo and I we are empaths. So, it also drained us to see people sometimes at their worst. It's heavy, and you take that home with you. It's funny because throughout that show, just to remember who's with who and all, we stuck their pictures on the doors in our house. So our firstborn, she was like our production coordinator, reminding us, this is this person, they are with this person. No, remember they swapped and they, so it was the whole family was involved in this production. But yeah, I love working with Tsepo. Even with my books. Every book he's, produced a song. It's because I think as creatives, you are inspired by each other. So we rub off on each other. He inspires me, I inspire him. So we enjoy working together. And I find that we know how to keep those lines clean, which is not always the case.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine what it's like to work with your partner, with your husband or your wife or somebody like that. It's 25 minutes past 2. This is Power Lunch on Power 98.7. Now we are talking in conversation with SALAMINA MOSESE. We're going to be talking about her latest project. So are you an author? Would you call yourself an author?
I've written 3 books now.
Okay,
so I think finally I can call myself an author.
So first book was like...
first book we're experimenting. No one knows if it's going to work. And I think also because I didn't plan to publish it, I was studying. I did a short course with SA Writers College. It was during COVID. I was panicking about... what am I going to do if I can't go back to work? As a film producer, we had stopped production. We couldn't shoot. Our industry is full contact. And we are not emergency workers. So I couldn't ask my actors to come on set and risk their lives. So I was, and also I had just given birth. Our little one was born in 2020 in February, and then by March, the world changed. So... it was during that time.
I hope Allah fangwana lebitso la COVID.
The will of God. Circumstances that were tricky. But yeah, so Disaster at Gogo's Plaza was my first book, and it was actually an assignment. Part of the course that I was doing, I had to hand in a chapter for 10 modules. And at the end, I had a 10-chapter book. I didn't think of it as a book until my lecturer graded my final submission, and she's the one who said, dude, there's something special here. Go back in, fine-tune it, and pitch it to a publisher. I was like, I don't know any publishers. She gave me one email address. It's the only people I pitched to, and those were the people who became my publishers. And then I wrote a second book 2 years after that, and now Noah's Invisible Blanket is my third one.
Yeah. What was that change like for you? Because now we basically seeing a very different side of Salamina, from soul buddies to being behind the scenes producing big shows for Netflix and so on. And then suddenly you're writing kids' books.
I've always loved writing, and I was a child who was a big reader. So I'm still a big reader. I love books. For some people, the gym is where they find comfort. For me, it's in the pages of a book. So I almost feel like it's full circle. And then it's also kids' TV was where it started for me. Coming back to it feels so natural. And then I'm a mom who is concerned about what my children are reading, what entertainment they are, keeping themselves busy with, etc. So I'm using, and also I think having acted and portrayed different characters, this is me bringing all of that into one. Because when I write, I have to access the child in me. I have to access the child presenter who remembers what it was like being Kodi Renshaw, reading to kids, keeping them busy while parents were shopping. All of those things are things that I have to think about when I pen my books, because I have to think, when it's done, how do I present it? How am I reading? What does this character sound like? What does this character look like? So I give notes even to the illustrator. Here, my latest book, I worked with Subi Bosa. He's brilliant. I hardly gave notes. In fact, Subi, he took my concept and gave it wings that I could have never scripted, right? So there's something very special about the picture book as well. It's that marriage between the words and the pictures. And that's just a gift, I think, for me. But really, it's the acting and the writing. For me, they come together in storytelling. That's my passion. My passion is storytelling, and there's different ways that I've found to do that.
It's 29 minutes past 2. This is Power Lunch on Power 98.7. Now we are talking in conversation with Salamina MOSESE. We'll find out more about her latest books and her book, and we'll still continue talking more about the career, the industry, her experiences, and a whole lot more. 0833037093. If you've got a question, comment, voice notes on 08330370 93.
Engaging, fun, informative. Power Lunch with Kwena Moabelo on Power 98.7.
25 minutes to 3 in a conversation with Salamina MOSESE, talking to us about her career, but now talking to us about what she's been up to as an author 3 books later.
Yes.
How have they been received? I mean, what's the first book like? Because as you said, you basically was not something that you intended to take out there.
Yeah.
How was it received?
I just remember the feeling, and I'm sure maybe musical artists would understand that feeling when you get the call and they say, you're a best-selling author. I was like, what?
Wow, that's
What?
beautiful. Yeah.
And that happened with the first book. And then Cook-Off at Gogo's Paza this year won the overall Essay Book Awards prize.
Lovely.
And Best Children's Book. So I won both. I won the children's category and the overall
Congratulations.
best book
Well
of
done.
the year.
Well done.
So for me, it's like, I write because I want children to have books out there that are relatable to them, that are interesting, that depict them and their worlds. In the Gogo's Spaza series, for me as a child, one of my favorite things to do was going to the Spaza with my gogo in Soweto, Midlands. She never allowed us to play outside, but the one time we were allowed to venture out of the yard was when she needed to go to Spaza.
So Likapako.
Yes. And, as a child, you get into this world, and I saw that's where the community gather. Ditaba, the next door.
You meet all kinds of people
exactly,
from Ditaba
right?
to
Everybody,
the village idiot to the
But there's that sense of we're all in it together. And I wanted to depict that in those first 2 books. Fast forward to the third book is the conversations that I was now having with a 5-year-old. The first 2 books were written for older children. They are 10-chapter books. And like I said, it was more because that's what I was studying, right? But one of the characters is Tumi, my daughter. who is now in high school in grade 8. So it's geared for slightly older children who are reading independently. But now my 5-year-old would ask me, when are you writing a book for me? And I said, well, when I have an idea. And I'm writing by inspiration. I think it's exciting. It's a new journey for me. You asked me if I consider myself an author. Yes, but I also consider myself a new author, an author that's still discovering her voice, that's still figuring out different ways to present stories. In this Noah's Invisible Blanket, for me, the theme is bravery and courage. And I had to find a way that distills those concepts, that whole thing of saying to kids, it's okay to feel scared, but you have enough inside of you to get through what you need to get through, and find a way to do it creatively in a child-friendly way. And because I have a 5-year-old, and I have conversations with her, and the mommy in me trying to think, how do we teach our children self-confidence and self-belief? I think that's even more important. How do we teach them to push themselves without needing somebody else to say, go, 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 you can do it. And it was all of these themes that I had to try and find a way to do it. And I used an invisible blanket. And it's a metaphor. And it's interesting, as I was coming here, the topic that you were having, conversations about grief, right? A child who would have lost a parent, you know, as an older sister, I would try and get them to understand that the invisible blanket could be that remembering mom. I heard one of the callers talking about how the daughter was struggling with missing mom. Mom is now an invisible blanket. She is a power that is with you everywhere, a spirit. Anytime you miss her, imagine that she's hugging you tight. And that's really what I'm playing with in this book. It wasn't a grief book, right? Like I said, it's about bravery and courage. But you can use that concept and use it in different ways. When I do a reading for kids, before I jump on stage, I have stage fright. People don't know this. Because I MC and stuff, people assume, you know, but I sweat, my ears block. So there's things I have to do behind the scenes just to prepare to jump onto stage.
And get there.
Yeah, so even with my daughter, when I have these conversations, I say to her, sometimes mommy feels scared. And I put on my invisible blanket. And then I feel brave. And then I can try and do it. And I push myself. And she says, oh, okay, so I didn't know you. Even big people get scared. And I say, yes, of course, you know. So it's just to try and distill emotional concepts in bite-sized ways that are relatable to kids. And then you put beautiful pictures that represent their reality. In Noah's Invisible Blanket, I'm also playing with the sibling relationship and the beautiful invisible power and magic that exists in the relationships that we have with our siblings. Because it's actually the older sister to Neo who introduces this invisible blanket. And at first he's like, hey, wena Thandi man, I can't see this thing that you say I must use to comfort me. And Thandi is like, you have to imagine. And you must know that it will be with you all the time. You know, and it's the journey that Neo goes through towards the end of the book, and finally realizing, no man, Thandi did say, with or without this blanket, I am powerful and I can do it and I am brave enough. And that is really what we are saying.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And you have these books in different languages?
Yes. Noah's Invisible Blanket is in 5 languages, English, Afrikaans, and then isiZulu, Xhosa, and my home language, Sepedi.
And I have got the Sepedi copy here.
Lepaila Neo la go se
bonagale. Moswantshiki Sibu Bosa.
Yebo.
I'm going to read one page. Let's see.
Good luck.
If my eyesight, I'm more worried about the eyesight than the book.
You don't have your glasses on.
O ile a ya godimo le pai la go se bonagale le shumile le mo thushitse gore abe yo bogale. Right, lovely. And you touched on earlier on, which I think it's a beautiful concept, especially because it's illustrative, one, which is kid friendly, because also even parents love those things. They will never admit, but also parents enjoy the pictures and everything. But you also, you said Tsepo Hausa, in this context, I'll call him Hausa,
Yes.
makes songs and music. Talk to me about that. I mean, he should have been here to talk about it, but
He's at work.
Indoda must.
Indota must.
Yes.
So he wrote a song. It's called Noah's Invisible Blanket. And, man, what a fun song. So he's
We have
obviously...
that song, right?
Yes, I hope so. It's so cute.
Yeah.
He's obviously a producer, of music as well, not just a performer. And he was inspired once he saw the physical book. He thought, let me lend my creativity to this product as well. He's done it with every one of my books. Disaster has its own song. Cook-Off has its own song. And now Noah's Invisible Blanket is a song. And he goes the full way. He releases it in digital stores. And for me, it's a marketing tool. It's a great way to get kids excited about reading. Even the reluctant readers. Sometimes their gateway into the book is through the songs. I remember with Cook-Off, a lot of parents were like, I was struggling to get my children to eat vegetables, but Hausa made it sound so cool. Mnushu on a Monday, chakalaka on a cold day, more veggies on a side plate, So all these songs, I think, are an extension of what we're trying to create. We want to create universes around these books, but just also create products for our children to get excited about finding books, stories, with different characters. And I think music is a great tool. Yeah.
So who are you targeting in the book? So is it different? As you say, this one is for more the younger ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Noah's Invisible Blanket, which is the latest one, it's a picture book. So naturally, that is for younger children. But it's so funny, the conversations that I've been having with parents who are like, "Hi, Salamina, you are even writing for me." Because some of these things are things that we wish we had heard when we were kids. And I think this is where I always say I encourage parents to buy more and more local books, because what you will then discover is that our authors are incredible and we are writing stories that our kids actually will love, but they need to find them, right? And it takes the parents.
And there aren't too many books that we relate to. I mean, just like you, I'm a reader, if my eyes allow. I mean, right now in my car, there's a full box full of books that I've been collecting, and then I'll probably give them to a school somewhere, or something eventually. But that whole thing of sometimes you can't find the books that you can relate to.
Yes.
But we have seen at least some sort of a shift now. We are seeing more and more African authors. We see more and more South African authors that are writing about the things that are relevant, things that we can identify with. Because I mean, as much as I'm a big fan of Ian Fleming and James Bond, I want to read something that I can relate. Something that if somebody says the story is set in Soweto, I know where that is. Unlike when Ian Fleming talks about some building MI6 in London that I might not know about.
It's exactly that. Like I said to you, I was a big reader. I was reading Bu Roald Dahl, Bu Nancy Drew.
Yes.
It's the UK. It's, far away stories. And yes, it was a gateway for me into the world of words. But what I've noticed now is there is a shift. The success of even the adult franchises like The Wife. I mean, that came from Dudu's books.
Yes.
And
that was amazing to see that actually come into to become such a big show. And people were not even aware that it was a book. And that was like, oh, this is based on a book. And then people started looking at...
But she's got a cult following of women who are obsessed with her books. And that's great to see because it's about celebrating the stories that remind us of who we are. Some are aspirational in nature, others just they help us to laugh and think, Linna, And I remember when I started the journey of writing, my daughter was reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And I was fascinated by how she would be laughing and laughing and laughing. And I was like, this is the thing. Sometimes as parents, we think of our children reading only for educational reasons. But she was using reading as entertainment. And I said to her, I'm going to challenge myself to write a book that is like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So my first 2 books, it's comedy. These children are getting up to mischief. And, there's the lessons in there. But really, I wanted to write a fun, light-hearted book that is just showing children in their natural setting, living with their gogo, who's the pillar of the community, and they get up to mischief. And gogo, she's strict, she's firm, but she's also very doting on her grandkids.
Are you tempted to go and write full novels, adult stories?
I think I will get to that.
Okay,
I'm
that's
enjoying
beautiful.
the children's space a lot. I think I love the energy from children.
Yeah.
They're so honest. They're so authentic in their dealings with, even when I meet them, sometimes I'll get to a school and I say, does that sound like an interesting book? And they go, no. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and convince you. But so it's fun. I think the kids space for me has almost healed my inner child as well. And it's exciting to try and create things with a new audience. Because a lot of people, like when I was working in one of the Mpo, I think he said to me, who is he? And I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm targeting a completely new target market.
Are you that old, Salamina?
Apparently
Are
so.
we that old?
Yes, we are.
Because I know there's I remember also I and this was somebody that I actually thought was an older person who came to me. It's like, I grew up watching you as a kid. I'm like,
wow, yes. No, we are at that age and it's okay.
yeah,
Rakudile.
Yeah, you know what? We're fast running out of time and there's so much that I have not touched on. And you see this thing of just talking, but it's beautiful. We're in conversation with Salamina MOSESE. I want to take a listen to the song, Neo's Invisible Blanket.
You guys are the best.
My name is Neo, I've got an invisible blanket. I got a gold and a couple of tricks in my pocket. Braveheart, I'm never scared of a contest. Somebody tell the lion I'm the giant, can I keep orders? They call me Neo, I've got an invisible blanket. Look at me flying over the moon, touching a rocket. All of my fears, I stump them under the carpet. Top of the world, marching band, give me the trumpet. Hey, I like a cat and I'm kissing the sky. Dishing my dad as a humble and pay. And now the hero is turning the tide. And I took his finish just out of a bite. Invisible blanket, let's combine. Ready to shine in my beautiful mind. What book is mama gonna read me tonight? Tell a story about a boy you can fly.
So should I back announce that and say that's the music of Hausa?
Hausa with Noah's invisible blanket.
Oh, but that's nice. That's nice. I love that it's almost like a full package, a song
Yes.
and the illustration and the story around it. And I love the fact that you go out of your way to send a message and a strong message and encourage young people, because I think at the end of the day, the books that we read as young people shape us into who we are. And if a young person, a 5-year-old, opens this book and sees a kid with afro hair that looks like them, you know, unlike Snow White or ngwana ka lepondonyana ke o thandi o phumula diatla tsa gagwe you know ka lepondo le le tshwanang le la gagwe. It gives that sense of authenticity and belonging, because this is a person that looks like you and most likely has the same name as you.
It says I matter. It says I am seen, I am understood, my stories are important, my thoughts, my ideas matter. And really that is what I wanted to do exactly. My daughter went through a phase where you know, she was obsessed with Elsa and the blonde hair. and it was so important for me, even in illustrating the first 2 books, I sent the illustrator a picture of my own daughter and I said, this is what Tumi looks like. You know, afro, natural hair, etc. And I think it's important for us to be deliberate about creating characters for our children that are going to live on in different mediums. Because they are franchises that have done the same, and there's a reason why a certain brand of kids walk around feeling like they own the world. It's because the world is shown to them as theirs. So we also need to give our kids tools to show that they matter, that they are strong, that, you know, that they can take up space.
You know, and I'm looking at the time, we're fast out of time. You know, I'm just thinking, we're seeing also the paradigm shift, Salamina, in terms of film and television, and which you are involved in behind the scenes, that even the stories that we are starting to tell now on television are the stories that we can relate more, that tell our stories and who we are, and represents the good, the bad, and the ugly of who we are.
I think it's also the face of who's telling the stories has changed. Before, you know, there were stories about black families, but they were not told from our perspective, and that's all the difference. It's telling our stories in our way, in our voice. From our perspective. I think even as a company, Steph and I, we tell stories for women like ourselves. So, you know, we know these women intrinsically. We are these women. Yeah.
So this you can relate. You know exactly what your peers, the people around you, and anything that you're working on behind the scenes, television-wise, or Lenalidi NDA?
Yes. So there are 2 new projects coming out from my company, Sorrel Media, myself and Steph. No dates yet, but yes, 2 new films. And yeah, that's really where we're at. And then Noah's Invisible Blanket is out in books. That's what I'm busy with.
Ke di movie tsa basadi gape.
Ke di movie tsa basadi papa. Re tla emela lena le dia di dori tsa lena le lena re tla le thusha. You are going to watch it with popcorn and hold your wife's hand.
Yeah, but we are forced to do this.
Yes, you are.
You're forced to watch.
Good date night.
You're forced to watch these things. Like, hey, if your significant other says, "Let's go and watch this," you can't.
Please do.
You have to join in. I mean, and also going back to the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am putting on my acting shoes again.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. So that is coming very, very soon. But yeah, people can check my socials to see announcements of what's happening and what's coming next.
Okay. Bunsi and says, happy lunch hour, Kwena. How much, where to get that book for my little daughter? Nice show as always. Where do we get the books?
Oh, Raleboga. Exclusive books, bargain books, ethnic kids, loot, take a lot.
They're already available.
Yes.
So if he goes there, he will find them. Okay.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, what was the other question?
How much?
180.
180.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, but Loot is running a special. I did see it yesterday. The loot.co.za has currently got it on special for 135 Rand.
Black Friday.
Yeah. Yes. So please.
Black Friday.
This is your chance.
Please go get those books. And as I say, I mean, it's beautiful that we're sharing this kind of stories. I'm going to throw a few questions at you. These are my last batch of questions.
Sure.
Don't think too hard.
Okay.
Don't try and be woke. Just answer me.
Answer authentically.
Just answer me.
Sure.
Quick, simple, straight to the point. What's your favorite snack food? You are thinking.
Biltong.
Okay. What's the best dish that you can cook?
Lamb stew.
That's what you say, right?
Yeah, lamb knuckles.
We must ask your kids.
Yeah.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm an in-between.
You're an in-between.
Yeah.
Ambivert.
Ambivert.
Yes, that one.
Yes.
What's your strangest talent?
Oh my goodness. Wow, I don't know.
Okay. What's the last dream you remember? Or are you a dreamer? Do you dream?
I don't always remember them, but there's a bee that keeps coming to me. I know some people understand what that is. It's quite uncomfortable. That was my last one. No, see.
It's some honey coming your way. I'm giving you positives. It's honey. Something sweet is coming your way. Yes, I'm an unofficial dream interpreter.
I receive.
It's something sweet in your life. It's about to happen, Salamina.
Thank you.
Take that. If there's a spider in your house, what's your next move?
It's funny. My daughter said we must put on our invisible blanket.
Oh!
Yes. I put on my invisible blanket. Na ke rata di spider.
Okay.
Daddy is one of those that pushes it out of the house gently. Mommy gets the shoe.
How do you feel about reality TV?
I am on the fence about reality TV. Reality TV is quite scary. I think I wouldn't ever put myself in that position, but mad respect for people who can be that raw and that themselves on a public platform with no training.
Okay, this may be, but I'm going to ask it nonetheless. Have you ever met celebrities like that you were like starstruck when you met them?
Yes, of course. I interviewed Rachel McAdams, Hugh Grant, yes, Ben Stiller.
No.
I did something with Lawrence Fishburne. I just remember walking around Soweto. I've met many, and
stop it.
Of course, I was starstruck.
Stop showing off. Stop showing off. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would you say?
Self-conscious, creative, and compassionate.
Salamina, thank you so much for coming through to spend time with us. It was wonderful catching up with you outside the dance world.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure I will see you again next dance competition.
On the stage.
There's Dance Star coming soon, I
Yes.
think. I know I had to pay 800 rand for some registration.
Thank you so much for the support, fam.
Thank you so much. Love your work. Love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate everything that you do. For people that want to find you on the socials, want to interact, want to find out more about Neo's Invisible Blanket, about some of the books and some of the work, the upcoming projects and everything else, where and how do we get you?
At Salamina MOSESE on Instagram and TikTok, and then at Salamina MOSESE_books for all my book stuff. I also do school tours, and I love invites from parents who want me to come and read to their kids. So yes, please keep the DMs. I keep them open. And that's where people can reach.
Thank you so much, Salamina MOSESE. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for coming through to spend time with us. All right, we're out of time. With an open heart and an empty stomach, we say, Domo, arigato.